let's get it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our monthly Microsoft Copilot and M365 SMB Business Community Call. My name is Tiffany Lee. I'm a product manager here at Microsoft in the Microsoft 365 area. So first, with any sort of event, either online, hybrid, in person, we have an event code of conduct. I'm not going to dwell over this slide, but essentially be kind, be welcoming to everyone on the call. And if you have any questions or want to know more about what that is about, we do have a hyperlink here linked on this slide at the bottom, and you can click there to learn more. Alrighty, and then for our agenda today, we have our welcome and some announcements. We have a special topic, which is that small medium business Copilot Success Kit that I'll be talking about. And then we have upcoming events and then open discussion where you can ask us some of your questions. Alrighty, without further ado, Emily, I see you on here. Can you come on and talk to us about what's going on in SMB tech community?
Yes, perfect. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. So I wanted to pop on for a couple minutes and chat about a few things. And so one, you may have seen this slide before. I think it was here last month, but just want to do a quick reminder that, after this call, if you want to, continue to engage with any of the Microsoft team who focuses on SMBs, or maybe all of you want to continue the conversation, we have the SMB tech community as a space for you, for all of you guys to learn what's going on through our blogs. We have a blog series called Supercharge Your Business that Brian Allen, he's a PM on the N365 side of things. He posts a monthly blog, which is news curated for SMBs. But then also, on the discussion space, feel free as you have any questions, or you want to share something, or just use that as a space to kind of talk with us, ask us questions, or, throw a question out to the community there. That is just a place to connect. And then with events, you may have attended our inaugural AMA at the end of September, where we had some of the Microsoft SMB experts kind of ask and answer any questions that were asked. And then in 2 days, on the 31st at 9 a.m., we are going to host, this will be our first webinar that we're going to host on the platform, where a couple of my peers are going to go through some topics related to Copilot. So we commissioned a study with Forrester to look at what's the ROI that SMBs are seeing when they adopt Copilot, how much kind of savings and time savings and benefits are they seeing, something quantifiable. So we will go through those results on Thursday. So we are continuing to plan more events and engage with all of you and deliver content. So I just wanted to kind of promote that for you all. And then will you jump to the next slide, Tiffany? Okay, perfect. Oh, wait, I already went through this. So yeah, so these are the speakers. So both Gabe and Kayla, they are on kind of a sister team of mine, but still on SMB marketing with me. So they will share these results. So there's the quick AKA link if you want to go and RSVP to it now. They will be there. I will be there in attendance, and hope you all want to join. And then if you go to the last slide, I will cover this. So I think this slide is typically in this call every month, but it is still active if you do want to sign up for any of our Copilot feedback programs. A peer of mine, we've kind of combined forces where to kind of reduce the number of forms that you all might have to fill out. If you go in there and you want to provide any type of feedback, whether it's part of this customer connection where you'll kind of talk about how you're using the product, and it's more kind of like user research, you want to participate, go through that link and sign up. But also through that same link, you can also sign up if you have any customers, because I know a lot of you guys are consultants. If you have any customers that you think you want to be featured in some sort of customer evidence. I know this is written for Copilot. I do work on Copilot customer evidence, but I also work on other N365 stories. So you could actually, if you wanted, just fill that out if you had any interest. Know that it comes to me and my colleague Kelly. She does the customer connection. We kind of just confer on those. So it's one form, multiple purposes, but we're still accepting interest. And then is someone gonna ask a question, or I'll check for the chat if there's anything? Okay. If not, I just wanted to make sure all of you knew about that. Feel free to post something in the chat if you do have any questions, but we're all those things are still going on.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Emily, for coming on and talking to us about all the different programs that we can take a part of. I'm going to go ahead and reshare slides so I can reload this deck for us. Give me 1 second. Okay, hold on. Let me stop sharing for 1 second, and then I will reshare so we can reload our deck right now. Okay. Thank you. We had some additions, and I just wanted to make sure we talk about it. Okay, great. So next we have Mondays at Microsoft. Mondays at Microsoft is a show hosted by Caruana Gatimu and Heather Cook. It's live on the Microsoft Community LinkedIn page. It's essentially a 30-minute bi-weekly show that catches you up on all the latest community news all over Microsoft, and of course latest product releases, upcoming events as well. It's available, of course, live at 8 a.m. every other week on Mondays, or we have available to be streamed or on demand shortly afterwards. So you can go ahead and click on that show. Super, super entertaining. It's basically like a fireside chat with Caruana and Heather. All right. So next, Viva Community Calls. If you're not aware, there's a new series of Viva Community Calls hosted by Lucy, and Lucy is a product marketing manager in Microsoft Viva, and they just talk about what's going on in Viva and the whole Viva suite, and there's different sort of updates. For example, like I think they're focusing on Amplify this upcoming month, but definitely bring your questions to them and make sure that if you are a Viva fan, make sure you follow the series. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to hand over the mic to Manyak, and he's going to talk about Teams phone engagement for SMBs. Feel free to take over control as well, if you like.
Oh, you can just move on to the next slide, Tiffany.
Okay, cool.
Hey all, so my name is Mayank. By the way of introduction, so I lead a product growth for Teams Phone, specifically for SMBs for this community. And so my team's charter is essentially to make sure how we can make it easier for SMBs to onboard and use Teams Phone. For folks that aren't aware of Teams Phone, so anytime you want to use Teams to make a call to a cell phone number or landline, you use what's called Teams Phone. So it basically gives you the ability or the capacity to make calls outside of the Teams to Teams ecosystem. So imagine your customer calling you that for calling your number that you answer on phone. So they are calling from their cell phones. So you need to have a Teams phone added on top of Teams. Now, I won't get into the SKUs. So many business products that we sell, like EFI as an example, has Teams Phone included in it. Some of the business SKUs, you need to have Teams Phone purchase as an add-on. Now, as I said, we've heard a lot of feedback from SMB customers around challenges in turning up phone, in understanding all of the use cases. For example, we've heard of small and medium businesses say, hey, we would love to have a contact center within the Teams ecosystem, but the other offerings, or if are too complicated, they're too extensive. I just need a simple contact center or basic bare bones offer, right? And there's a product called QZap. Or I heard this in a customer conversation that I recently had. The SMB partner or customer said, hey, I have a landline that I've had for 20 years, and I forward those numbers to my Teams client. And I said, hey, why don't you port the number over to Teams? And they said I wasn't aware of what porting was. So Teams Phone, again, like has a bunch of use cases that can address a lot of the needs that customers have. Like I said, we've heard of challenges from customers in understanding what sort of use cases does Teams Phone address? How can I use it with Teams? You know, and so we have basically have this program just for that purpose. Um, so to get customer voice, to get to make it easier specifically for SMBs to onboard phones, to use phone, we have started this program that basically helps us have one-to-one conversations with SMBs such as yourself. I will start off by saying first that this is an absolutely free, no cost obligation. So what does this program address? What is this program supposed to do? If you're an SMB customer that have use cases, you get in touch. You can nominate yourself with the link that's pasted here on the slide. I'll also add this in the group chat. And so you talk to us about your use cases. You talk to us about, hey, do you have a use case where you have a few representatives and you need a shared line number? So you want one common number for your business, or you have a few agents and you want calls to get routed to them, or you want to port a number over to make sure your business does not lose the number that you've always had. So phone has a bunch of features. Again, it can also help you transcribe with Copilot. You can get calls recorded and transcribed, and Copilot can summarize calls that you've had if the customers noting action items. So with this program, we have a dedicated team of global consultants. What the consultants do is they will have a one-on-one conversation with you to understand, what are your business use cases? Do you have any, do you have phone? And if you've not enabled phone, how can we walk you through enabling phone? If you already have the license, turning it on, turning on other features. We consult on, like, the business cases that need phone, like add-on apps, queues apps, etc. That really are built for SMBs such as yourself. How do you do basic troubleshooting, guidance, tools usage? So that is all that we do. Like I said, this program is geared for SMBs and is absolutely free of cost. There is no obligation. This is a consultation to tell you how you can turn on phone and use other products or services. What do we get in return? So we have a direct voice of the customer, of you telling us what areas need improvement in our product, what areas need improvement in our administration, and then you also serve as voice into additional features that we add on to the product over time. Moving on, like what you can expect, like I said, really accelerated timelines from the time you buy the license, subscribe to deployment. We can walk you through in terms of all the automated tools that are available in Teams Admin Center for calling plans. Um, you don't need to go through extensive documentation, spend hours with support, or go from pillar to post. Like I said, no cost of engagement. This is a limited time offering, so we have this program for fiscal year 25, which ends in July of 2025. And if there are opportunities where you want your agents or you want your fellow employees to get to understand phone, to understand some of these tools, we are more than happy to do as well. Um, Key requirement, like I said, one, this is a one-time offering. This is a time-bound program until July 2025. This is specifically for SMBs. So we are not looking to work with enterprises. We just want to work with SMBs in providing this free of cost engagement. And yeah, so if you have any questions around calling plans, calling solutions that integrate with Teams, more than happy to take them now. Or feel free to reach out to the email address, or fill out a form to nominate yourself. Any questions?
Yeah, we have one in chat, if you can
Okay.
see that. It says from Ben. It says, does Teams phone standard include a TID and allow incoming calls without having an additional calling plan?
Does Teams phone standard include a DID and allow incoming calls? Yes, absolutely. So this is it does, and we can share like additional details. Like there's more features and functionalities that you can get. You need the calling plan when you explicitly want to make outgoing calls as well. So if you have a use case where it's just incoming calls, you can absolutely get just a team phone standard. Again, like even if you have questions such as these, this is not we are not trying to con you into selling anything. Like I said, my team charter is to make it easy for SMBs to onboard to phone, to adopt phone and to use phone and see all of its services. Which within the larger team's ecosystem makes a bunch of sense. So even if you have one-off questions, feel free to reach out to the email address, nominate yourself, and more than happy to spend time without any obligations. Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, if we have any more questions, feel free to drop them in chat. You can also stay for Q&A, and hopefully we'll still have you next to answer additional questions, or if you want to ask more about the program. But super happy to have you on today and to talk about this Teams Phone program. Super, super great. I don't see like we need if you would like to have a Teams Phone onboarding, especially as a small medium business. I know that we definitely need to put more heart and love and investment into SMB. So if you would like to see for this or any of the SMB customers that you serve, I know there's some SMB consultants here as well. Definitely encourage them to take part of this program. Right?
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Tiffany.
Of course, thank you. Alrighty, so next we're going to cover this Copilot Success Kit for SMBs. So I know that previous month we had Gabe to come on and Mark Cashman come on as well, and Emily Purse. And then they covered about basically the release of the Copilot Success Kit for SMBs. So today I wanted to just give you a very abbreviated version of the Copilot Success Kit for SMBs and basically what's in it and what it can help you with essentially. So first, the Copilot Success Kit. This is basically, we had a Copilot Success Kit for enterprise, and now we have this SMB version, small medium business version for you all and any sort of customers that you may serve. So essentially in this Success Kit, and you can download it here in this link right here that I show on the link on the slide. It's aka.ms/copilot SMB/success kit. But essentially there's a quick start guide essentially on how you can get up and ready really quickly on if you just got your Copilot license. There's a technical readiness and adoption guide, which is what I'm going to show today, an implementation checklist, basically like Microsoft's suggested version of what you should do when you get your Copilot license, what you should try next, and essentially like taking you through that implementation of initial rollout to getting more familiar with it, and then so on. And then of course we also have onboard email templates that you can send out to your employees in your company. Alrighty, so just laying down basics, Microsoft 365 Copilot, pretty sure everyone's heard at this point, but essentially one of the reasons why we built Microsoft 365 Copilot is to bring incredible value and productivity, creativity, and efficiencies, right? So if you don't know already, Copilot can help you and help your employees save time, especially across the more rudimentary tasks, such as, taking notes and having to take meeting minutes on, having people repeat what they're saying, for example, documentation summaries. It can also help you become more creative by helping you turn your ideas into content, helping you build your PowerPoint decks that otherwise you might have writer's block or creativity blocks like me that I do all the time because I'm not very artistic. But essentially helping you bring insights from your data that you might otherwise have taken a long time to drill and to find. And so Copilot does this by it being integrated directly into the Microsoft applications that you already use, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and more. And so essentially helping you to just get more efficient with your work and lessen disruption to the flow of your work. And so it's also built on Microsoft's commitment on data security, privacy, inheriting your existing policies, configurations, and making sure that you're in control from beginning to end. All right, so one of the top questions I get from the small, medium business customers that I work with is, what kind of license do I need? I know it's quite confusing. Even Kira herself, my manager, she is part of her HOA board and she cannot really find sometimes for her HOA board, she's the president. And so they're a small, medium business as well. And, they have funds. They need to basically get Copilot. And it was a little bit challenging for some to find what kind of license. And so I definitely understand your pains. And that's something that we're addressing with marketing departments on making sure the pages are really really clear. But today I want to address for you all that you can think of Microsoft 365 Business Standard and Breezes Premium, though those are the two small medium business license essentially, as your like foundational tools for work, collaboration, communication. So that's those two licenses that you see on the left side of the screen here are essentially what brings you, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. And then with the addition of Copilot, Copilot, you supercharge your productivity by having that, those same essential applications, like I said earlier, and then being able to use Copilot along that. So, but like I said, Copilot is a tool on top of Microsoft 365, but any tool is only as good as the user that wields it. So how do we make sure that we wield that tool the best way that we can? How do you get to value as quickly as possible when you have acquired those licenses? And so when we talk to, people that deploy Copilot, right, no one really ever overlooks on, oh, how can I install it and making sure that it works correctly, right? Because, well, you do need to set up Copilot in order to use it, of course. But once we get over the technical requirements of setting everything up, the other commonly overlooked aspect of this deployment is user enablement and human change, right? A lot of times, raise your hand, I probably have gotten this sometimes of, sometimes your company will just give you a tool, but you have no idea when, where, how do I use it, and then you're just expected to use it, right? But a lot of other times, sometimes, you'll focus on, okay, how do you deploy it and how do you get it to work without any sort of training or enablement or, suggested scenarios on how you would use this X product. So what we're trying to talk to today in the Success Kit is taking a strategic and targeted approach to adopting Copilot so you're not just thrown out in the woods and telling you to, start running. So again, there's more to this, but the three essentials for onboarding success is leadership, scenarios, and enablement. So first, you'll need a strong leader or sponsor or that can communicate the change within your company. So you can be, that person will be the figurehead of change and drive home the importance of it. So if you are the owner of your company, for example, then, you would be that person that says, hey, this X product, or in this case, Copilot is important because it can help us, lessen meeting minutes. It can help you, essentially like save your time or write meeting notes or other ways that you may find helpful for your company. But essentially, that leader needs to be that voice and for that figurehead for driving home the importance of why this is important for the company to use this product, for example, and rally them towards a cause. And this will also help with driving strategic decision making and navigate any sort of like conflicts, right? If once the leader says, hey, so-and-so is going to get it first, they're going to be the first trial rollout, and then they will get Copilot first, and after that, maybe you'll deliberate on, which other department to get it, and then after that, you will roll it out to the rest. But second, we have also found that identifying the right scenarios you want to address with Copilot creates much more concrete direction and scope, right? So getting really specific with work or business outcomes or, your KPIs, for example, or which target users are going to use it first, just brings more clarity to what you're trying to basically achieve with Copilot and defining that value for you. And then lastly, wanting to making sure that your users are successful with training and onboarding. So in the Success Kit, not going to dwell over it because you can probably spend all day talking about it, but we do want to make sure that you do have the tools that you want to use or you're well equipped with it in the Success Kit, including the sorts of Copilot Lab, for example, that has all the different suggested prompts that you could use for Copilot so that, if you wanted to do a certain thing, or maybe you don't know what you can do with Copilot yet, you can go to Copilot Lab and then you would be able to find basically the different prompts that you're able to use Copilot and begin to form that habit and sort of familiarization with using it. So diving in just a bit deeper into the leadership component, like I was saying earlier, the leader should be active and visible and making sure that they're a committed role in decision-making and progress of the project, right? They should help support in making sure that there's buy-in and commitment from if there's the other sort of stakeholders, right, that are in charge of this company. And they should be leading the charge in communication for employees to drive and support the change that we're making. So again, there's more to this in the Success Kit. And then next, scenarios. There's all of these different sorts of scenarios specifically for each role, for example. And if you're one that wears many hats in SMB, for example, like you're both HR and marketing, you do the hiring, you do the promotions, and you do the sales, right? Identifying the different scenarios that are basically having Copilot integrated into the Microsoft 365 applications means that it can help you do the different things that you can do. For example, in sales, it can essentially help you draft emails. In HR, it can help you take meeting notes of the different candidates that you've interviewed and having meeting summaries of what you and that candidate discussed. And then perhaps for financing as well, it can also help you just clear up your Excel charts on what you want to focus on for that day and et cetera. And also for interviews as well, for customer interviews as well, you can also have them, summarize what you and that customer talked about and fair on. So there's definitely different scenarios that are in the Success Kit that you can explore, but essentially there's definitely a lot that Copilot can help you with. And then there's a money slide. I really like this slide of the Copilot Success Kit is this onboarding engage slide. So once you have their executive sponsor that we talked about, that leadership, you've identified your scenarios and your users. The most important thing is don't forget to think about training and onboarding. So learning to use Copilot is pretty cool to me. Like I think the first time that I used ChatGPT, something like that, it's simple, right? It's like asking someone else simple questions and having them answer it for you. And this is kind of like, I'm pretty sure, hopefully you experienced at one point or another. But on the other hand, right, getting past that, learning to get the most out of generative AI and how to structure prompts to get it to deliver maximum value has really just honed in on how, I work and what my thought processes are when I, use AI. And so we like to think of building AI skills in 3 fundamental buckets. And I really like this pyramid. So at the core and base, right, we have individual skills. So this involves understanding the basic prompt structure, right? How do I ask Copilot a certain thing to get the result that I want? And familiarity with using Copilot and having it build the habit of using for work generic tasks such as summarization, revision, and search. So as we grow in competence of using Copilot, so more than just individually using Copilot, you naturally look at for the departmental skills, right? And these are skills that directly benefit the user and the role and the impact that Copilot can have on it. So you can think about this, like, for example, having Copilot to draft whole sales pitches for your sales team or, the person doing the selling in an SMB sort of sense, and marketing collateral, right? So having Copilot draft up some marketing documents or PowerPoints so that you can use it for when you do like these sort of marketing or sales presentations for customers. And of course, like strategic white papers of, what you may focus on the next fiscal year or the next upcoming quarter, for example. And so that's how departmentally it can benefit more than just the individual. And then as you further progress of that pyramid, we can introduce extensibility and using Copilot to tap into that third-party data to really drive value and synergy across departments to benefit your organization. So following the structure of introducing and progressing your user through the skill pyramid allows them to build core fundamentals and better understanding of concepts as they gain expertise. Alrighty, so top 10 things to try with Microsoft 365 Copilot. A lot of times I do ask, like, how can I, how would they use it or what it can help them with? So these are some things that they can try in case you have someone asking you, whether it's customers you work with or maybe someone that you employ of what they can do with Copilot. And then, of course, I talked about Copilot Labs earlier. So if you wanted to see more prompts and other things that you can do with Copilot, definitely check out Copilot Labs. And then again, for the interest of time, for departmental and org level prompts, definitely you can refer to our role-based guidance in the Success Kit that I just showed you about how Copilot can benefit these different individuals in different roles. And then there could be a whole masterclass on how to do prompting and prompting 101. But if you wanted to have more information on prompting, for example, and what that can do for you, and as well as the different things such as role-based guidance, you can also visit this link, ak.ms/AI for all. And then last but not least, as we're going through the different steps that I just shared, we want to make sure that you are getting value in the Copilot license that you've paid for example, and of course Microsoft 365 as well. And this is where the Copilot dashboard from an admin point of view can be really helpful. And you don't even have to be an admin as well. I'll get more into that. So included with your Microsoft 365 Copilot license is access to this dashboard that can help you track and evaluate Copilot usage across apps by feature, analyze the impact on business value, and just get insight to what people are saying basically about Copilot, or how much they're using it. It is powered by Microsoft Viva, so it does live outside of the admin center, to making it really more accessible to the reports that you would think a traditional IT uses. And it's positioned to really help your decision makers and presenting to these insights basically of Copilot at the C-suite level. And if you are, the owner, that leader, for example, or executive sponsor, this view of the Copilot dashboard is really going to just help you track success of where it's being used more or less of. And then we do have a pre-built Copilot user survey kit that's available as part of this SMB Success Kit that has pre-built templates. So you can send these pre-built templates on to your users and get directly feedback on them from how they're using Copilot, if they like it or not. So you don't have to build it. We already built it for you. And hopefully you take advantage of that. But yes, this is an abbreviated version of the SMB Copilot Success Kit. There's much more to it, but we definitely didn't want to put too much. If you look at the enterprise version, it's going to be much more information, but we've really made our own SMB Copilot Success Kit and made it simple so that it's easy to follow. You can have an implementation checklist if you really wanted to follow like a step 1 to 10 of how you would implement Copilot for a small and medium business. There's a quick start guide, adoption guide, which is what we kind of quickly went over today, and then technical readiness, how you would install it, and then of course these templates such as onboarding emails, user survey kits that you can use as part of the SMB Success Kit. It's 110% free, so make sure if you find it of interest or you think someone else could use it, feel free to download it or have it look right here at aka.ms/copilot/SMB/Success Kit. All right, so that was a lot. If we have any questions on the Success Kit or, or what it's for again, anything, just you feel free to ask my questions or put in the chat as well. Alrighty, so upcoming community events, we do have a very exciting rest of the year. I know it's almost Halloween actually, but Thanksgiving here if you celebrate that in the US, and of course Christmas if you celebrate that as well. But upcoming community events, if you don't already know, on Halloween in like 2 days, we do have a community days in Mexico City hosted by David Levier, and he is at Microsoft MGCI regional leader, that he's going to be hosting that really cool event in Mexico City. So it's going to be definitely spooky theme, but great event to attend. We also have the AI Community Conference in Houston, Texas. Another event in Texas, the TechCon 365 Dallas conference. Well, you'll have Mark Hashman, who you saw in the previous community call if you were here, as well as Josh Leparati on my team. They're going to both be there, and I think Mark will be keynoting that call as that's conference as well. So definitely check it out if you're in the Dallas area. Of course, we can't forget about Microsoft Ignite coming up next month in Chicago in person as well as hybrid online. There's going to be folks from my team, Caruana, Heather, as well as Jeff Teeper, Adam Harms, and many other Microsoft folks there. Of course, Microsoft MVPs is going to be there. We're going to have a community booth. We're going to have an MVP booth. We're going to have lots of excitement there, and of course, product announcements. So definitely don't miss that event. And then to wrap up hopefully the last major event for the year for us is the European SharePoint Conference. It's going to be in Europe, in Stockholm, Sweden, and Caruana, Heather, and many other Microsoft folks is going to be there. So again, there's going to be a community booth, and if you're going to be in that area, make sure you check it out. All right, so I think that was my last thing. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands, come off of mute to talk about it. And just one quick reminder is to complete our survey at aka.ms/SMB Champions Feedback. I'm also going to put it in the chat right here so you can have easy access. If you wanted to refer your friend to join this community, feel free to refer them in at aka.ms/Copilot/SMB community. All right, but if anything you want to take away today is definitely if the SMB Copilot Success Kit, as well as the Teams phone program that we have Manyak talk about. But again, hopefully you found a value of the different sort of resources that we're providing for small, medium businesses like yourselves. And then we can also take questions if we have any. Right? Going once, going twice for questions. Right. Well, if not, I'm happy to give back everyone some time for the rest of their day. Thank you so much for joining in today and to talk to us and hear about our programs. I appreciate you all for joining. Oh, Ben, do you have a question, or it was just a thank you?
Well, yeah, I was gonna just ask if anybody had any recent Copilot wins, if anybody on the call was using Copilot. This can always be a fun question as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually have just a great use case that has saved me and is actually what I'm multitasking on right now is timesheets, because you can ask the Biz Chat or the Copilot chat, what files was I working on September 17th? What chats did I have on September 17th? Because it'll just filter it out just at that time, because I chat with the same people every day, trying to find out if I was talking to a particular person on a particular date is really hard. But if I can figure out who I was chatting with, what documents I was editing on that date, it's really easy for me to figure out what I was actually doing on that date. So that's just a little personal productivity Copilot win for myself.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're finding success with that. I've tried that a few times, and it's been a little hit or miss for me, depending on whether it was chat or something else somewhere else. But yeah, definitely a really cool use case for sure.
I have one to contribute. So upcoming is Connect season here at Microsoft, but essentially it's basically like a progress report card of like what we've done for the last, half a year or quarter. And basically before I used to have to like look at my screen and be like, oh my gosh, I have to remember everything. And you technically take notes, but then you have to fill it in and it needs to be detailed, right? So anyway, so I've asked Copilot and I just think it's so cool because it saves me probably at least 2 hours of my time. And I have the prompt basically I said to Copilot to look at the emails, Teams meetings, documents, and Teams chat that I sent in the last year and use these messages to basically distill a leadership style document that I can use to basically inform Copilot of using my personal voice and style based on the above analysis, give a breakdown of my top 5 strengths, and then basically like one thing that I could improve on, and that's like the how I can improve part of that Connect part of my progress report, and then basically and then like 3 OKRs on the above analysis that I can reach in the next upcoming 6 to 9 months. So I mean, I definitely have to go in and like add different parts to it, but I feel so much better not having to look at a blank sheet of, okay, having to remember everything for the last 6 to 9 months and having Copilot just do that for me. So one less thing I have to do. Otherwise, every, 5 months or so, I'm like scratching my head trying to remember everything and making sure that it's written in my voice, of course, and making sure it's written well as well. So yeah, so that's one thing that really follows me as like an employee, and I'm sure it'll help you even if you're a small medium business and trying to basically look back at what you've done in the past. But yeah, so thank you for sharing.
That's really
Anybody
cool.
else want to share? Oh yeah, thanks, Ben. If not, I'm happy to give back time. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Dulcie, for sharing, and we will see you next month. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.